Well, welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So just in the last few days, there were some big keys in a 9.8 that had sold on at ComicLink. So I just want to go over those sales prices and kind of talk about where these books have come and gone in the last year or so. So the first one up, it's a Tomb of Dracula, #1 in a 9.8. Yeah, a really great investment grade book. Yeah, you got a toy. Go, go, go. And this one had sold for $5,201. So I got a bit of a story on this one. I was really close to pulling the trigger on this one. I think it was in about 2020. I'm a pretty big vampire fan, and I love the book, Dracula, the Bram Stoker book. So targeted this one in 2020, didn't quite pull the trigger. They were about 2,000, I think a little over 2,000. Back in 2020, I think I was kind of aiming for like 2,100 or so. So the comic book market got really hot. A couple years later since then, 5,201. Yeah, this is one that's really hanging in there well. I think this one may have got up to about 6,000 or so, like, you know, right at the peak there. But holding its value really good. It kind of makes me think like maybe there's some vampire Dracula thing that I don't really know about in pop culture that's maybe, you know, keeping this one elevated a little bit. But Tomb of Dracula #1 selling for 5,201. It's a great investment grade 9.8. Kind of a no-brainer on that one. Classic Neil Adams cover. Yeah, if you like Dracula or vampires, this is like the one to get pretty much. Okay, I did see a Star Wars #1 in a 9.8 sell. It was in an old case for $3,300. I think we just talked about one that, yeah, what was it the other day? I got my notes here. $3,700 one had sold for. This one in an old case going for $3,300. There is one on ComicLink right now that's going to end in a day or two, and it looks better. It's in a new case, so maybe it would have held this one a little back, but it is in an old case too. So you know, maybe that I'm gonna, you know, be looking at that one that's going to end in 2 days in a new case, and maybe that'll go a little closer to the 3,700. We'll see. But yeah, Star Wars #1 getting close to that $3,000 level, and I think around that level for a really nice one, if you're big into Star Wars and you don't have this one and you want to invest in comics, I think right around $3,000 for a Star Wars 1 in a 9.8 is a pretty great price right now. Yeah, it's come down in price. They were, you know, at the peak of things, 6,500 or so. So, you know, it's had some time to come down in price, and huge key. You get all those big first appearances. Star Wars is going to be around for 100 years. So I do like a Star Wars #1 in a 9.8 around that $3,000 level, let's call it. Hopefully it just, you know, keeps pulling back a little bit more and you get a great deal on that one. Next one, Ultimate Fallout 4, the variant edition. Yeah, interested. I was really interested to see where this one would end at. Sold for $19,250. So this is kind of the one to get for Miles Morales fans out there. And, you know, you have a lot of people thinking that, you know, maybe this one will be like the next Amazing Fantasy 15 in like 20 years or something like that, as Miles continues to get more popular and into pop culture. You know, at the peak of things, you know, this one was pretty steady for around when the market was hot for about $40,000, I think, back then. There may have been, you know, some spikes where, you know, it went for a little more. A few books went for a little more than 40,000, but I think it kind of settled in there around 40,000 about a year and a half ago when things were really hot. So yeah, about a 50% haircut in Ultimate Fallout 4 variant. Tough to say what's going to happen with this one. Like, obviously, it's the super rare variant to get in the 9.8 for first appearance of Miles Morales. But there might be still a little more speculative air to come out of these Ultimate Fallout 4 comics. But the variant selling for $19,250. The first print sold for $1,410 in this group of auctions as well. Yeah, so I thought I saw one sell for about $1,400 and something. But I know I talked about one that sold for $1,900 about a month ago on a recent video. But yeah, you definitely want to aim under $1,500 on the first print for Ultimate Fallout 4 right now in a 9.8. Next one, a big key, X-Men 101, first appearance in Origin of the Phoenix. This one was an off-white to white page, but still looking pretty great. sold for $4,500. Yeah, this is a huge key in the super high grade. I think that's money well spent. I'm pretty sure this one was around that kind of 6,000 to 7,000 when things were hotter. It was definitely well over $5,000 if I'm remembering correctly. So a bit of a haircut on this one. This one was in an off-white to white page. I'd imagine like a great looking one would probably be pushing $5,000 in a white page. Yeah, all things considered, pretty great investment book at $4,500 for, a really old one in the super high grade. X-Men 101, big first appearance of Phoenix on that one. Saw another Amazing Spider-Man 252 in a newsstand sell. It went for $1,589, so kind of right around that price we mentioned in the last video. I think it went for $1,500 and something, kind of sticking around that price. This one looked good, and it had the kind of decals on the CGC case to match. Maybe on a 252 newsstand, you can aim a little bit under 1,500. This one was looking really good. Hopefully, it's just a pretty tough, crappy market right now, so you can kind of, look to get a lot of these books at the lower end of a fair value, I think, right now. Last one here, just a kind of a quick list of some of the big keys that I saw in this ComicLink round of auctions. Astonishing Tales, number 25. The first appearance of Deathlock. Also get the first artwork by George Perez in comic books on this one. And it sold for $2,111. To be honest, I'm not too sure of some of the price history on this one. I never really wanted this one, never got into Deathlock in any big way. But definitely a George Perez fan, and this one is a big George Perez key. $2,111. Maybe if someone's got GPA out there, you can give a little price history on this one, maybe in a 9.8 in the comments. But yeah, probably a pretty decent value for how old it is, and especially if you're a big George Perez fan. The Astonishing Tales 25 selling for $2,111. Okay, so thought I would just make a quick video and share these prices because they were kind of really big key issues in a 9.8, pretty great investment grade ones. And yeah, still I think with Star Wars #1 still pulling back, like it's still kind of showing some weakness and, not really too much strength, I think, given these prices. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward in the next couple months. Hopefully prices firm up a little bit and maybe get a little bit of a bounce on some of these books. Okay, we'll leave it at that though. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.